there. I'm Claudia Fox. I created this show because I wrote a book whereby I interviewed people who were successful without a college degree, as well as people who had a passion for something but never realized that passion, even if they went to college, until they were adults. I'm really trying to reach teens to let them know they can go to college, of course, and it's a great experience. But if they're not going to college for many reasons, could be financial, could be grades, could be lack of interest in something at the college level, that they too can be successful. I want to expose them to many different things that they can do. Now, today I have a wonderful guest from my community, Heritage Village. And when I met him and began to talk to him, I became fascinated with his journey. So he's here to tell you about that. David is an incredible artist. Wait until you see some of his work. Now, David, you went to college, and so what was that experience like for you? What did you pursue then, and why?
Well, first was environmental science with the University of Phoenix. We did that. I did that online for both associates and bachelors. You got the associates first, of course, in general studies, and then became fascinated with geology. And out of the blue, I decided one day to start researching the history of mining in Connecticut. And I found out so much of vast history that I had no idea where all these minerals came from that we use every day, like borax. It's made from a mineral that is found here. So based on that and my love for geology and rocks and minerals and learning about that history, I decided I got to go back to school to learn more. And what I discovered was not only did I learn more about geology, but I learned a lot more. I got a lot more out of it than I initially expected. So I think that that's going to happen because, and you're wondering why you're taking English and you're taking math and you're taking all these other classes besides, and it really enhances your total understanding. So now I can have a conversation about geology with anybody and talk about rocks and minerals and tectonic plates and why earthquakes happen. It's very interesting, and it's an ongoing learning experience because there's always something else to discover about it. So that's how that came to be. And trying to take chemistry online, I had to order boxes, like a chemistry kit. I had to order it. Was required for chemistry 1 and 2, and do my experiments at home with a classmate over the phone as a team member. So we both learned something. So that's how you accomplish doing chemistry, which the first try, when I tried it, I initially said, I need to stop doing this and take a break for 2 months to study, because when the very first week I started learning about chemistry, I knew nothing. So I told the person, the academic counselor, I said, I need to stop this class, take a break, learn what I need to learn, and then when I resumed, I got an A in that class.
Oh.
And the second, there's chemistry 1 and chemistry 2. So that's how that came about.
Okay. Well, what happened when you got your degree? What kind of a job did you get?
Well, I was already, I was in the military.
Okay.
So I have 37 years of service in the Army and Connecticut Army National Guard. And some of the time I was part-time. So I was working in hospitality. I was working in different industries, learning about carpentry, painting, hospitality, and then computers. I went into technology. And then I got a job full-time with U.S. Customs had a partnership with the National Guard. So I was over there with the U.S. Customs officers searching ships. And it's just like, it was just like a hunt looking for something. And of course we were looking for items that are not supposed to be on ships coming across on the banana boat, looking for plants or animals that shouldn't be on the boat, drugs of course. So it was like a scavenger hunt for me, looking through those bellies of those ships. It was fun.
Wow.
So I had to accompany them. And then eventually I got full-time back in the National Guard that supports the part-time force. So it's like I'm stationed back in the Army, but living at home as a regular job. So for the last, 14 years of the service, I was full-time.
Wow. I know I do watch those shows on TV where they go through the suitcases at the airports looking for contraband. And I'm fascinated by it. I mean, it's really, I could see why you would have a great time doing that.
It was fun.
Yeah. And then when were you always a good artist? When did you discover, because you're quite an artist, when did you discover that?
Well, that goes back to when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
So I'm 60 now. 48 years ago, my grandfather, who was an incredible artist, taught me and helped me draw a horse out of charcoal. And it was more of a side view of the horse, and he's just like, this is how you do the lashes of the eyes, and help me touch it off. And he just has so much patience to teach, because he was probably one of the best artists I've ever known in real life. So from there, I took art in high school, but I don't ever remember them going that deep into it, other than doing some drawing and maybe watercolor classes, and it wasn't as in-depth as now, but my love for art started really when I did a scratchboard picture of a lighthouse. It had a spiral staircase, and so you could see into the lighthouse. So it was kind of like an X-ray view of that staircase going up, and I still have it. However, it's falling apart because you can't have that hanging on the wall where the sun hits it, because it'll dry it out eventually. Yeah. So then I did pastels and scratchboard here and there in between, different jobs and working. And then eventually when I was deployed to Iraq, I did 5 pieces for our interpreter and his family, because they helped us a lot. And he had 5 daughters and his wife, so I did a picture for each of them and presented it to them for them helping us over there. They were helping the Army in general, but so I was doing that because, number one, after working all 6 days a week, what do you do when you're working all day and you're gonna sit there and watch TV? I'm an artist. I'm gonna use my skills and develop and just do what I can. And a lot of the stuff I've done, I've given away.
Nice.
So nice. It helps, and it brightens somebody's day. It makes them smile. And it was very easy to do. So I had my material shipped to me. It took a little while, but then when I got it, I just was working on that. And before I knew it, doing my full-time job over there, 8-10 hours a day, and then coming and doing art at night, my time over there went really quick, it seems.
Wow. Now you've taken this to a whole new level. Aside from gifts, you have re-entered college for art.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yes.
So yeah, one of the generals that actually is working full-time in the Guard, his daughter went to Pear College of Art, because I was asking a couple people, what do you suggest? Because my goal was to, when I retire, go to school and pursue an art degree, just to kind of enhance my skills, to become what I call a well-rounded artist. like my grandfather was. So he suggested pair, because I looked and I was trying to contact a couple other schools. I'm not going to mention names, but they never responded.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a lot of it had to do with during the pandemic, a lot of people weren't really responding, and a lot of people weren't working in the office. They were working remotely, so that might have had something to do with it. But I don't know. But I finally found a school when I went there. They accepted me, and they made me submit 5 different drawings, works of art, because they're not going to accept anybody.
Yeah.
So they're pretty strict as far as who they allow to be students, and I like that. And their classes are smaller, maybe 7, 10 people max, so you have a lot more attention from the professors. And now I'm on my 2nd semester.
Wow.
And I'm busy and learning a lot and very happy doing it.
That's fantastic. Why don't we show some of your artwork? And also, I know you have a great story about something you recently did and presented. But let's look at these.
So this one right here is a scratchboard picture of a jaguar. And where I got the reference is on a website protecting the 100,000 acres in Belize where the jaguar lives. So I put all my work onto DeviantArt because you can make a portfolio on there and it automatically copyrights it to you. So this took a little while, and I added color with Dr. Martin's India ink, and it took me about 4 tries to get the eyes the way I wanted them, so you could look in, you could see the iris, and just using an X-Acto blade, fiberglass brush, and tattoo needles to blend to get the result. So it takes a little bit of time. It's a layering upon layering. You add color, you scratch, you add color, you scratch until you get the desired effect. So
it's beautiful.
This is one of my favorites, and it's a family heirloom.
We can put this. Yeah, it's beautiful.
This
so
one,
intricate, so intricate.
yeah. This is a pastel picture, snow leopard and mother and cub. I got this from another reference from one of the Walter Foster books that you find that used to be published all the time of how to do this, and very helpful book. And this is on gray paper, so it's easier to have a tinted paper instead of white, because if it's white you have to fill it in, and you use a lot more pastels.
Let me put this one up a little. See, just see. You can see, I mean, it's just fabulous. This last one might be more difficult to see.
Well, we'll try.
Two, yeah.
Yeah, this one is a pencil drawing of Max. A friend of mine works at Harwington, manages a horse stable, and loves doing it. So hopefully you can see it. It's a little bit.
Just push it out.
It's a little bit darker over here to try to show you a shadow. So hopefully you get the different details.
And then the other side.
The other side is just a pair of 2 horses I found on a reference and decided to do it. I love horses. It's one of my favorite animals. And I think they're beautiful.
They are.
So
they are.
This is just a couple of different examples, because you asked about a recent picture I did. The story about this is
great.
I don't have it with me because I gave it away. It started in 2017 at Skibetson, the Foxwoods Powwow. My wife and I saw this guy doing traditional dance, and he was incredible. So I call the picture I did inspiration, because it inspired us. When we watched him dance, we couldn't take our eyes off of him. His name is John, His Native American name is Mishnak. So I found the picture 2 years later. So we saw him in 2017, found the picture that the New London Day took in 2019. And I called them. I said, can I have your permission to do this picture? I'm not going to sell it. My goal is to give this picture to the man in the picture. And at that time, I didn't know how I was going to do that. So they said, yeah, no problem. You could do that. So I started a scratchboard piece. Again, just that black board, which on the back of it is masonite. Front of it is white clay sprayed with India ink. That's what scratchboard is. I did it took me 2 years because this was 4 months before the pandemic hit. So our studio where we live in Heritage Village was open, closed, open, closed. So all my materials were in the village studio. And I had to call security eventually and say, hey, I need to go over there and get my materials so I can continue doing this work. So it took about 2 years to complete that picture, and then another year to locate somebody in this man's family so he wouldn't know what I was doing. I wanted to be a complete surprise. So eventually, I went to Skemetson again, the powwow at Foxwoods, 2 years ago, and I found one of his cousins. And then he pointed me to the man's sister, John's sister. She's on Facebook. So what I did was I sent her a message out of the blue on Facebook with a picture of the picture that I did. So she would know that it wasn't just a picture out of the blue from somebody that she didn't know. She responded 2 or 3 days later, which I was extremely excited about, and then gave me the number for her dad. Now, they live in New Mexico, and they come back here to the Narragansett tribe in Rhode Island for their powwow every year. Her dad is the war chief of the tribe, so he's like one of the top 4 men in the council of the tribe. So I talked to him on the phone for 40 minutes. I was cooking a pizza downstairs. I forgot all about it. I burned the pizza. I was so excited just talking to this man, and so honored to listen to his story and learn so much in a short amount of time about what I didn't know and how we could set up. My initial goal was to present that picture in front of John, in front of his whole tribe. But the MC, when we actually got there in August this past year, had such a really strict schedule that I really couldn't be fit in until way late, or maybe the next day. And my time was limited, traveling to Rhode Island. So we decided that we would just present it to him and the family. So I had this box. He was inside the box. He's sitting at the picnic table. I'm right next to him. His dad's at the end. His uncle is sitting on the tailgate of the truck. And there was another cousin. And I just started talking to him. My wife is there with me. And I just said, John, you inspired us so much with your dance. And before I even opened the box, the man was weeping. And he didn't even know the reason why I was there.
Right.
So when I opened this box, his just eyes went like this, wide open. And his dad was crying. My wife was crying. His uncle was crying. His cousin. They were all in tears. And to make it into their circle was such an honor to me, to be able to do that, to lift somebody up, because he was going through some things in his life. You know, everybody has things that they go through, and it took his mind off of that temporarily and lifted him up and made him happy, and became brothers, basically. So.
Wow.
And it's his. So he sent me the picture when I shipped it to him, because I said, John, what would you like me to do? You want me to ship this to you? Because it's a big box, and he's in the midst of performing for his powwow.
Right.
So I said, I'll take care of it for you. So I wrapped it up really good, shipped it to him. I wrote a nice long letter to him, heartfelt letter, and explained to him what all this meant to me. And he sent me a video back of the picture he received and the letter and the picture hanging on his wall at his home. And it was an audacious goal to make it that, for me, after 4 years, to achieve that goal. And now I'm trying to find another one, of course, but to be able to do this for another person that he didn't know me from Adam.
Right.
And it was a complete surprise. Nobody told him. And I achieved what I wanted to achieve.
You changed his life, and I see the joy in your face and your expression when you talk about it. You're so highly motivated. And, you know, I know people lose motivation when they get older, especially when they retire. I think you're going to live a long life because you're filled with curiosity and wanting to learn, and you do it. And then you share it with others, which is really what it's all about, serving others,
Yes.
affecting other people's lives. So you are doing that. It's so wonderful to hear your story. If you had one thing that you could say to a young person who's starting out in life and maybe they have a passion for something, but they don't know what to do, would you have any suggestions or tips?
Oh yeah, always remain curious. Be hungry to learn, because there's so much richness in learning. And once you start on that path, the whole purpose for me, is if you're going to learn something, excuse me, if you're going to pursue an education, the whole purpose of that is for yourself to share it with somebody else. Excuse me. What's the sense of learning a subject or different things if you can't share it?
Yeah.
So if somebody's starting out, number one, you're going to be passionate about something, and you're going to tell your family, you're going to tell your friends, and some of those people are going to say, what do you want to do that for? Yeah, don't do that. Forget about that. Don't listen to them. Listen to what's in here.
Yeah.
Okay? You need to follow what's in there and put it down. So if it's art, if it's music, if it's writing, it's whatever that passion is, do it and learn everything you can about that subject.
Yeah.
Because once you do, you can share it with other people. You have something to talk about around the Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner. Right. When you when you go to any kind of a function, you haven't seen a friend or a family member in a while, you have something to talk about, to share. And then it's fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, David, for being on the show. If you'd like to reach David or myself, please just look at the phone number, contact, and we'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, David.
Thank you.